I'm gonna say hi. I'm Phil S. Pumpkins. You got something more than I ask? It's a self-referential to previous Halloween episodes.
Okay.
And then you can say hi. I'm Tracy.
Okay.
All right.
I was gonna say pretty good cooking.
Hi, I'm Phil S. Pumpkins. You got something you want to ask?
Hi, I'm Tracy.
Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking, a Halloween festivity night. Is this episode Halloween related? No. Are we in costumes? Yeah. Is this specific episode gonna come out for Halloween? I don't think so. I think that's what we're doing with the other episode. At any rate, now that we know what we're doing, Tracy's gonna teach you how to make challah bread.
Holla back, yo! Oh my god, what was that?
It was a recycling.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! We're gonna make challah today, and challah today is basically a lovely Jewish bread, which makes the most amazing French toast ever. And I don't say that. I don't say that because I know personally, because I've never had it. I've only had it on brioche. But this is what I've heard from my sources, is that it's a really f***ing amazing French toast. So, for ingredients, what you're gonna need is some all-purpose flour, some sugar, some olive oil, some active dry yeast, several eggs, some honey. So, what you're gonna wanna do is you're going to wanna have a lukewarm cup of water. It's gonna be 1 3/4. Sorry, okay. Also, just for everyone to know, I'm already tipsy. We're gonna fill that up. You're gonna need 1 3/4 of a cup. There's that. All right, at this point, you're gonna wanna take your yeast, and I want 1 1/2 tablespoons of yeast.
To drink or not to drink?
Drink! Drink!
Man!
Okay, so yeast, when you use it, needs to actually eat off of something.
Is yeast vegan?
Hell if I know, who cares? For this, we're gonna need a tablespoon of sugar. Okay. And now it eats. But we're gonna help it eat a little bit by taking a spoon and then kind of stirring it up. Preferably I like a wooden spoon. Make sure that the yeast can eat that sugar in that lukewarm water. And then we're gonna leave that for about 5 minutes. When it gets foamy, that's when you know the yeast has kind of started eating the sugar and then it's kind of activated. And that's also when you should start adding other things in. Okay, that's that for now. So the fun thing about this whole process is that if you stand here long enough, because you're tipsy enough, you can watch the yeast bubble up. Oh, there goes one. It's been 5 minutes since we last checked, and this is how bubbly it's gotten, which is about, like, based on my pizza crust. Oh, there it is. Pretty accurate for how it should look. At this point, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna take a 1/2 cup of olive oil and toss that bitch in there. At that point, you're gonna stir it. Technically, it says whisk, but listen, I don't know where the whisk is. I'm about to find it, because this is a moment. You're also gonna wanna take a tablespoon of salt, add that into the mixture. You're gonna want a 1/2 cup of sugar. If you like more sugar in your shit, like if you want a sweeter thing, you just put more sugar in it. So at this point, you're gonna wanna add 4 eggs.
How many eggs is that in hexadecimal?
Listen, I went to law school, not math school. I don't give a damn about how many units it is and anything else. I just want it to be in my challah. Challah.
The answer is 4.
Yeah.
Why do you know that? Okay. So, munch up your eggs just a little bit. Now whisk. Oh shit. Don't whisk that hard, but whisk.
Would you like an actual whisk?
Yeah, that would be great. Can I have one? So now that we've gotten to this point, it's a little light, a little beautiful. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our flour, about 8 or so cups of flour, but I always eyeball it, and here's why. Because when you're making bread and stuff, usually you can tell based off of like how it feels to your hands. So when you're mixing this, and you're gonna wanna switch at this point from a whisk to an actual wooden spoon, and here's why. Lo and behold, it becomes solid. At this point, it kind of resembles pancake batter. And this is only with 1 1/2 cups of flour. So you can imagine what like 8 or something would do to it. But the point is, we want it solid enough that when we f with it with our hands, it's gonna like become a solid entity that we can weave and bend with our hands. At this point, we've gone at least 4 cups deep. Woo. This is also when like your forearm strength kicks in, because it's gonna start becoming solid. And if you have a mixer, this would be a great time to use it.
Phil, do you have a mixer?
I I do have a mixer.
It's too late. I don't need a mixer. I am the mixer. Alright, at this point we're like 6 cups deep. Also I'm getting flour all over my lion onesie and my hand's cramping. Okay, you're gonna have a lot of flour in the dough. The dough's gonna be kind of sticky. You're gonna want to with it because your spatula / spoon is not gonna make much of a difference. It's gonna turn this spucky goop. So here's the deal. You're gonna wanna get balls deep. And by balls deep, I mean you're gonna wanna flour your hands. You're gonna get your hands in there and you're gonna get messy. This deserves it. And do you know why? Because it's gonna be delicious. That's why. We need more flour. Phil!
Yeah.
Pour more flour, please.
I'm here to assist you.
Just start pouring some
How much
stuff
do you need?
I don't know. We'll just eyeball it. No, more. Get in there. Pour more.
I am the pourer. That doesn't really have the same rhyme to it, does it?
It doesn't.
You ever thought about flour and how like that thing grew on a plant and then got bleached, ground up, and you know our whole civilization kind of exists because we've been eating this shit for thousands of years. This is how like art came around because people like were like, oh, I could eat this instead of animals or berries or beer. Please resume. Gotta buy some broccoli.
You're going to start kneading this kind of like you would any other bread dough. You're going to want to incorporate it, be as rough as you want. Make it like a BDSM session gone completely right. You slap her around, you teach her who's boss, and you tell her what's what. Or him. It could be anything.
Where are you gonna incorporate it?
Delaware.
And what? Well, let's get back to the show. Never mind.
Okay, so it's still a little sticky, but otherwise most of the flour's been incorporated. You can still scout some bits from the edge of your bowl and pound them in there. We're getting real close to the part that I like to call the rising, which is literally where it rises.
No, just say when.
When?
I like King Arthur brand because every time I see it, I'm like, oh, it's flour. But it's also
once and future king.
King Arthur.
So at this point, you're going to want to start kneading it in earnest, which means it's going to come together actually as a dough. And what I like to do is the Traci's arms are really short, so she just punches and then spins and then punches and spins over and over again until everything's incorporated. That was a mistake. Alright, your flour should be feeling still a little bit sticky. As you can see, it's still trying to adhere to my hands. But more importantly, it's like basically become what you think of as dough. Alright, here we go. We got our dough. What you're gonna wanna do, basically make the dough into a ball. Plop it in the middle. Take some olive oil. You're gonna drench it with it. You're gonna coat it. Make sure it goes under. You're gonna wanna take a regular... What is going wrong with me? Soak this towel in super hot water. It'll help with the rising process. Wring it out, and now you're gonna want to put it in a corner for an hour. The more you let it rise and the more you punch it down, the better the results are. Usually it ends up with like a tastier, deeper, sort of richer feeling of a loaf. Moses is part of the Red Sea, but he got us stuck out of Israel for 40 years. I'm a little bitter. We could have started that shit a lot earlier, but we didn't. And you want to know why? Because the f***ed up a lot of things in the desert of Sinai. Like motherfuckers, don't build a golden calf when the Lord leads you out of Egypt. Maybe, just maybe, he already proved he existed, so don't make a golden calf. Anyway, small thing. We'll be back in about an hour. We've had about an hour, and so at this point you're gonna want to punch it down. Technically you'll want to take it out of the bowl for this, but I'm really lazy. Simply because you punch down this side, but now you gotta punch down this side. So at this point you're gonna want to heat this up again, squeeze out the water, and you put it back on the bowl. And you leave it there for another hour. So you're gonna pick this up like a dead cat off the side of the road. It's so gluteny, it's so beautiful, it's so succulent. It's so succulent. Also, I've had a few glasses of wine since the last time you saw me, so this is gonna be great. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna cut it into fours, because a proper holla ain't gonna holla back at you unless she got a braid. And you're gonna help that bitch with her braid by chopping and then cutting into fours. So if you have like a bread cutter, as Phil just told me he's never used, now is the time to pick this bitch up, because this is gonna be super helpful. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna make this into 4 balls. which is twice the amount of balls that you wish you had. We're a wholesome show, Phil shouts off the end of the stage. So here's the thing. You're gonna make this into a bunch of balls.
Balls!
At this point, now that we've made our 4 balls, you need to start making them to serpentine patterns, which is pretty similar to how we did it as children in kindergarten with Play-Doh. You'll take a huge ball and you will stretch it out and you will basically make it into a snake. This might be a little too sticky, but we're gonna work with it anyway because time constraints. There's one. We're gonna do the other 4 like this. You'll see us in a second when we come back to this. Alright, so at this point you've made 4 worms out of your dough. What I like to do is I like to start at the top. There's other ways to do this, so like you can do it from a left. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't destroy property. It's bad. So basically, I like to do bop, bop, bop. And then later, and then spin it over, take the same piece, and then if you need to, milk it, as I like to say, milk it, and put it down. Oops, sorry. Put it down. And as you go, you'll notice the threads start to make like a bun pattern. You're always gonna take the outside strand and move it in. If you reach the end and you find you don't have enough room, the key then is to take it, tuck it under, and then start from the top again. Separate the top strands, spread them out a little more. They'll usually be a little bit more bulbous than your other strands, and that's okay, because you can fix that as you go through. So, voila, and then tuck it under again. And then I'll make you a braided piece of challah. It doesn't look like much right now, and I realize that because this is not fully and completely risen yet, so it's gonna go in for another 30 minutes to rest. And in that meantime, it's probably gonna grow about like into this point. So it's gonna serve a lot of people, and you're not even gonna know it like looking just at this as it is. So we'll be back in 30 with a luscious piece of bread that deserves to be put in the oven. Alright, so the part where you're supposed to do the lacquer, it wouldn't be much of a bread without some honey and some lacquer in it. So we're gonna take an egg, we're gonna crush it in here, we're gonna add as much honey as we want. You're gonna mix it up. You're gonna, it's kind of like a goopy, syrupy kind of spread. You're gonna take it and you're gonna spread it all over your challah. Note, it's never this pretty. Okay, we've made our bread. So I just finished putting a foil sheet into this baking pan. And I'm going to pick up a bread loaf and put it on top. So it'll spread out because it's gonna rise a little bit while it's inside. And in the meantime, we're gonna pop it in the oven down here. It's gonna be in there for like 30 to 45 minutes. I suggest taking it out midway through just to apply another lacquer to it because it's really nice. It adds another like sweet kind of crust to the top. But if you don't want to do that, you can just leave it in there for like 30 to 45 minutes and it'll be completely done by the time you're done, which is super redundant, but it's true. See you sometime, possibly in the near future with fresh bread.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, we'll see you tomorrow.
I'm gonna re-lacquer this bread. It's been like 20 minutes. Oh my god, it's luscious as f***. Alright, now we put it back in the oven. We'll be back in 15 minutes. Don't get my double chin, it looks really bad. Yeah. Okay, there's not even room. This thing is really tiny.
Alright. Just stop for a second. Wait it.
We'll stop for a second.
Oh, you have the hook.
The bear glove.
Stop. I'm literally trying to make more room and you keep taking the things that
Sorry, my finger was burning. So here's some challah, and it's gonna holla back at you because it looks f***ing beautiful. Oh my god, it's delicious looking.
Excuse me, I'm turning off the oven, thanks.
Oh god. There's a hunk. It's super f***ing hot, please be careful.
It's delicious. It's not even burning me. 10 out of 10 bread.
This bread is heavy, I'm putting it in my belly, it's a very nice bread.
That's good.
What do you mean the Huns destroyed my father's
Oh my god, this is the best challah I've ever made. Hands down. This is the best challah I've ever made. This is amazing. Ask Kevin for more details.
A bread worth fighting for.
And that's how you do it.
Pretty good begging. Wow, you caught your bumpkins back on me?